All right. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, back to talk about another well, it's not new anymore, but we're going to be talking about Made for Love, the HBO Max original series starring Kristen Milotti, Ray Romano, Billy Magnuson, amongst a few other people. And this show's been out for a bit, and I started watching it a little while ago, and I never got very far. I got too many things going on, and so now that some of the shows that I was reviewing are over, I wanted to really go back and look at this show because I don't think anybody's really talking about this show, and I don't know why, because it's really really interesting. So if you don't, before we get into it, I just want to say we did just hit 2,000 subscribers. I want to thank anybody that's watching this that helped get us to this point and help me along on this journey. At 2,000 subscribers is like a million to a small YouTuber. I'm realistic. The time of YouTube reviewers just blowing up to me is kind of over. And that if you didn't get on the ground floor, it just takes a really long time to make an impact anywhere unless you're playing the game. And I don't really play the game that YouTube wants me to play. I don't make reviews the way that a lot of people make reviews. I try to be really honest and talk about how I feel, how the shows make me feel, what it makes me think about, what they're talking about in the shows. And I don't play the algorithm game, so it's taken a while. And so I really appreciate everybody that helped get me here. But that being said, if you're new here, don't forget to become a subscriber to the channel. Hitting the bell for all notifications, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff that everybody's like, hit that button. It's like, just if you feel like it, thank you. And leave, comments. Do you want me, if you like this, even the comment section, if you want me to continue making reviews for this show. Because right now I'm only planning on making the one, and we're going to see how it goes. I might make more. I might, watch the rest and then make a full series review after this. But this is just like the initial kind of feelings about it. And let's jump in. I think I've covered everything that I really need to talk about. But also, if you want to join the Discord, I have a Discord for Smirking Gun Reviews. All you have to do is follow me on Twitter, send me a message, and I can send you an invite to the Discord, where that will be the place where we do a lot of viewing parties. So if you want to be a bigger part of the community on the channel and you want to get involved with viewing parties and after discussions on Discord, stuff like that, feel free to follow me on Twitter at reviews_gun, and then we'll get you an invite to the Discord. So, because this is all about community. Anyway, we're talking about episode 1 called User 1. And this is directed by Stephanie Lang and written by Alyssa Nutting, who wrote the book. This is an adaptation of her book with a few other writers. And if you don't know what this show is, the premise is Kristen Milotti plays Hazel Green, who's married to Byron Gogol. And he's basically a tech conglomerate, kind of like Bezos or, whoever. He's basically a human version of Google. And a very high-tech guy who lives in the, got this compound in the desert, very high-tech mansion, where it's almost like its own little biome, where it looks like a house from the outside, but when you're in the inside, it's very contained. Part of it is anyway. It's very, very interesting, the way they designed this house. Really, really cool. And she's married to him, and right from jump, you can tell that things are strange. The very first lines kind of give you an idea of where this guy's head is at. Because it talks about how love is the center of our lives. But our lives have changed, and it's, it's all evolving around us. Life is evolving around us. And it's time for love to evolve too. Now, on the outside, I try to think about what this character's motivations are, because he is clearly very smart. He's clearly thinking about, what humans are capable of, and expanding the ways that we think and do things technologically. Um, but then when you break it down to another level, he's a control freak, and he wants things just his way. And this relationship that he has with his wife is less of a relationship and more like business transaction almost, but yet he says he loves her, but yet he wants to control her, which is a lot of people's relationships. Um, and he's got this idea of a network of two called Made for Love, where you share all feelings and emotions, and it's a chip that will connect you to another person like forever. It's like an ultimate marriage of everything, including like everything about you. It's like you're one person, and it's a very interesting idea for a show. In practice, for this kind of technology, that is very, very, very dangerous, um, and almost satirical. To you know what I mean, like a parody of like what we're capable of. Um, I do like how right off the bat, when we get to see her at the beginning of this, she's escaping this compound, um, dressed to the nines in this really nice dress, and the first song that comes on is singing about how a woman belongs to her man, and how it just makes me think about how traditionalists that are still, there's a lot of them still in this country that live by that the woman is beholden to the man, that the woman belongs to the man, that the woman is second to the man. Where I live, it is very prevalent, that attitude, that the woman, stays at home, does the grocery shopping, does the cooking and the cleaning and the taking care of the kids, while the guy goes out and works. And in this case, it's more like with Hazel, he's got her, like he's the man. He controls everything. All she has to do is just kind of exist in this house. But really she's more like a prisoner, and has people, she's got these like robot chickens around the house. like these weird robot Alexa chickens that tell her when she's supposed to do this and when she has appointments for that. She, has TV screens telling her when, like to do orgasm reviews. She is forced to rate every time they have some kind of sexual intercourse, and like a certain number out of like, I think it's like 20. Each thing is like upwards of 5, and there's like 5 stars rating. This guy is so insecure, but it's also kind of part of like, I think the basis for the technology that he's using, that and so, but it's just so creepy and so invasive. And being married to this person, I started to ask early, like, why does she even stick around? Like, if it's that bad, why doesn't she stick around? And I feel like in episode 1 here, we only get a taste of this relationship, because some of my biggest questions are, why would you even, besides the fact that the guy's a bajillionaire, right? Why would you marry somebody like this? Who was he before? Was this again, is this the nth degree of where this relationship has gone? Did he start out like a lot of relationships do, with all this promise and all this hope, and oh my God, he's so amazing and smart and intelligent, and he's so driven, and all the things and confident that, and handsome, and all the things that would drive a woman towards this kind of person, and then finding out too late, what they're really all about. And once they start getting the things that they want, how they change. And is it more like she's afraid to leave? Is she afraid to leave this guy? And so I'm really curious about where this show is going to take us as far as showing their relationship evolution. Because on the surface, I'm like, you should just go. Why didn't you leave a long time ago? But since we don't have all the information, it's not, for me to judge really her character sticking around for this long. Um, it's and it's part of the whole captivity thing and the control thing is another way to see it is in the fact that he has a dolphin in his pool. And it's not a big pool, and we when we look at like SeaWorld and everybody that talks about, and it's true that keeping these big animals who use the entire ocean, right? They need to be free. They need to have space. They are not to be kept in these little containers for the whims of the ultra rich or for a Saturday entertainment and tricks. And it's just kind of like having the dolphin there is almost like how he keeps the dolphin like he keeps her, trapped in this like too small of an enclosure. So like the dolphin's trapped in the pool, she's trapped in the house. They're both trapped there, and he's got these two assistants that come, and one of them's like, the dolphin's not happy, and he's like, well, you then make it happy. Like it's not my job to make it happy. I just want it. And again, he wants something, he gets it, then he controls it, but he doesn't take responsibility for any of it. And also just kind of stems from, he seems like very spoiled and like somebody didn't tell this guy no enough. um, so we kind of get this story back and forth. We have these flashbacks to like the last 24 hours and to her first like 24 hours of freedom. So intercut with this, she's on the run. She's picked up by a guy who's like a local DJ for the local radio station who thinks he's a pretty big deal. I thought that was kind of funny. That clearly, out in the middle of nowhere, this guy's probably a pretty big deal. So for her to not know this guy, to him, is very strange. She ends up at a strip club where she, steals some clothes, steals some like I think it's like water, like club soda or something like that, and changes clothes and tries to get away. Meanwhile, one of his assistants that works for him, who's played by Dan Bacadal, if I'm saying that right, who's been on Veep, and he's been in a ton of things. He is actually a pretty funny comedian, very good character actor. He shows up. Now, she rightfully would be freaked out, right? Because this is one of his lackeys. And he says he's there to help, but we don't know, right? But in the flashback from the day before, we see that he's making this announcement, like it's in this scene right here, that Made for Love is ready to go. But according to his assistants, it's not anywhere near ready to go. That if he were to do this, one of them would die in the chip insertion, which is what he announces here. That him and Hazel are going to be the first recipients. They are going to be user one for these chips. And, she's like, what the fuck are you doing? And a little earlier you can see there's this desperation. There's this look on his face where he can tell there's something been going on with her. There's something wrong with their relationship. And he feels her slipping away. He feels him losing control over her, even though she's very, very good at hiding it. She's very, very good at playing the game, playing the wife, playing what she needs to play in front of people. But he sees it. And he says right before they go on here that you've been lying to me. Now, what has she been lying about? Maybe it's about the orgasms. Because in the course of a day, she not only has to do it on like the screen that asks her for the information, but there's this dick who comes over to their house named Bennett who like, oh, here's some wine. Which one is the best wine? Oh, and why did you rate your last orgasm number 3,452? I believe it was somewhere around there. Like, why was it 5? Why did you get it a 5? And it's like, that's how quickly, like how fucking insecure this person is, even though he's got everything he could possibly want. But they also talk to Hazel like she's a product. because Bennett talks about how she's, how the board loves you and you're his secret weapon, and it's like, so like like you would pick something like out of a catalog. Like, is this relationship that they're in based off of some sort of algorithm itself? Like, if the board wasn't satisfied, would they suggest to him that he find a new wife? It makes me wonder all sorts of things that this first episode, kind of leaves some kind of questions out there that will hopefully be answered along the way. So they know that if they do this procedure, the assistants are like, one of them's going to die. We get this, so we cut back to the guy trying to say, I want to help you. And I love the way this is shot because we don't know if he's on the up and up. It's very tense. We know that she gets her hands on an axe. So from the previous moment, it seems like he might be on her side, but you just don't know because the level of surveillance that she's been under for 10 years, right? She hasn't seen real money, she says, in 10 years. So when he tries to, she kind of feels cornered like an animal. And when he gets into the same room as her, she chops off 3 of his fingers. And it's a very extreme thing, but I think that her reaction is very extreme. And I would say that maybe this scene is a little poorly written because the guy's intentions aren't made clear. He should be saying more and more. Like, he says, I'm on your side, but what he should be saying is what the danger she's in. Why is he there? Give some stuff. Talk to her instead of chasing her. Just so that we can get to the part where she cuts off his fingers. They're leaving things specifically vague for the sake to create more tension and drama instead of being smart, which is explain yourself when you're, chasing a person who's very terrified for their lives. So they do this for drama and comedy's sake in a way. And not to say that it's not effective in that respect, it just doesn't feel very realistic as far as what a person should do in the situation. So we get that really creepy scene. I'm sorry, that song Love is Strange that came to popularity again in the 80s with Dirty Dancing, that song is creepy as fuck. It's not as creepy as Baby It's Cold Outside, but it's pretty freaking creepy. It's just the way the whole song goes about, first off, just the whole thing. Love is strange. It's got this weird flow to it. Then when they get to the whole thing about calling your lover boy, and I'm listening to these actors sing it, and she's selling it. She is laying it on thick for the people, like hiding how she really feels and doing what she is told. And I'm listening to it, and it's just such a creepy, creepy song. And it works so well here to add to the creepiness of the relationship that they have. But that song is creepy. So at this moment, she leaves the party after singing the song. She breaks the glass case that's around the green dress that we see her wearing later. She takes a bunch of their robot chicken Alexas, puts them in a bag or like a big sack, like in a sheet, ties the sheet up around her neck, and she jumps in the pool. So it kind of makes you wonder, and again, this will probably be answered later, was she killing herself or was she trying to escape? Did she have a plan when she did that? Because it could be either way at this point. Now, I can tell that, like, what must happen is however the dolphin gets in there is how she gets out. But if she was just going to swim, why would she need the ballast, the weight, unless she was really trying to get out? So to me, it looks as if it was a failed suicide attempt that turned into an escape. That if she was going to be, as he puts it, commingled hearts, minds, and identities, and that all secrets are dismantled, which also begs the question, like, what was she lying about? I don't really care what it was. He's a piece of shit. But it makes you wonder, like, what was she really trying to just end it all? So she gets away. We know she gets away. We know that she gets away from Lyle in the strip club and has a guy take her to the town where her dad lives. And this is where we get to see another really creepy thing from Byron, which is seeing his reach. Technologically, this guy can get to you anywhere. The phone ringing, the old ass, landline payphone goes off before she puts the quarter in, which means he's got her on set. We don't find out until a second later how he's doing this, but he's able to access the phone. He's able to access car alarms. He's able to get the phone number of a stranger that's nearby and try to talk to her, telling her, Noodle, you're not safe. And that made for love is already done. It's already ready. It's already in you. So he's already injected her with the chip. And that's how he's able to see everywhere she's going. Now, Lyle had said that he gave her a head start, but whether or not that was true, it didn't seem to take long before that head start is over. Maybe Lyle didn't know that she already has the chip inside her. Just awful and creepy. And Billy Magnuson, he's a really good actor. I first saw him in Ingrid Goes West with Aubrey Plaza and Elizabeth Olsen. And he's the first start of his career, he was always playing, the what I like to call the 80s dickhead. He seemed like he was doing a version of the 80s dick. Like in every, like John Hughes type of movie, there was that guy, the preppy looking a-hole. And at first I was like, I don't know if I like this. But the guy got enough good roles in shows like Maniac, movies like Game Night, as well, that I'm really liking this guy a lot. And now he's playing this like megalomaniacal Lex Luthor meets Jeffrey Bezos meets, I don't know, Elon Musk, I don't know, type of billionaire genius who just feels his relationship slipping away and found a way to try to keep it by injecting her early with the chip. Now that is not just unethical, that is a crime. That is a serious fucking crime to put somebody under and do brain surgery on them without their knowledge and experiment with them just so that you can keep your control over this person. Now, Kristen Milioti's, she's fantastic in this as well. She, when the world really first got to know her, it was on How I Met Your Mother, and she was the titular mother, and a lot of people were disappointed in that, but it was not because of her. And I really wish that we could have had more time with her as that character. She was also in Wolf of Wall Street and other things. And she's somebody that really is on the cusp of being super, super great. And I hope that we get to see her in a lot more things, because she seems like a really cool chick. And I know maybe I shouldn't say chick. Woman. When I say chick, I mean, hey. So I'm really, really liking these two as a pairing of her versus him. And so she makes it to her dad's, where the chip is doing something to her, and we are seeing her through the little screen that Byron has. So she gets to her dad's to try to get some help. I don't really know what he can do to help her, but we find him having sex with a sex doll. And he says, "Welcome home," and she passes out. And so that's the end of the first episode. Really, really intriguing. They set up a lot of really interesting stuff. A lot of questions to be answered. I imagine we're going to see a lot more of the characters' backstories and explain some things about why this relationship was even started in the first place. Mixed in with, what's going on in the present. One thing I was a little was wondering is the person who plays her mother in a flashback is played by Ione Skye. Ione Skye is most famous as being Diane Cord in Say Anything with John Cusack and is it Mahoney? Is it John Mahoney? Who recently passed, the guy from Frasier. Um, and she's only listed in the credits as one episode, and that would have been this one as in a flashback. So I would really like to see more of Ione Skye in this show as well, because she's somebody who's just been kind of, I don't know, she must be doing her own thing for the past, I don't know, 20 years or so. But I hope she shows back up in the series as well. So again, let me know in the comments section, if you want to hear me talk more about this. And because I'm interested in continuing watching it, but if there's not really any interest in doing this, then I will probably wait to do another one for a season 1 review. But this is a recommendation. I do recommend this show. It's something original, well, it takes a lot of the old tropes and does some really interesting things with it. So definitely give it a chance if you have HBO Max. And either we'll be back with episode 2 or we will be back for the season 1, like all around thoughts and reviews. So if you liked this video, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications. If you hated every single thing I said and somehow you still watched this far because you like to hate watch things, well, we'll give you a better memory in just a second here. So those of you who liked this, please look away as we give these people the last 27 minutes of their lives back and give them a better memory. Say cheese. That's right, you just watched the first 15 minutes of Up, and you cried and you cried and you felt so much like you always do. So have that memory in your head instead of this. Have a nice day, and we'll see you on the next video. Or not. Bye.